Hey.
Hi.
Bailey, we jump straight in, we're shaking hands.
Sure,
Hey,
why
hey. How are you this morning?
I'm great, how are you?
I'm doing really good, yeah. So I hear you're kind of like halfway through your run of your show at the moment.
Yes, just about, yeah.
And I'm hearing a little buzz around here about it. I'm seeing some things on social media.
Yes, yeah.
Tell me what I've missed.
My show is called Gimme a Sign, and it is all about the search for signs from the universe.
Okay.
That's the overarching theme. But it's based on something sad that happened. About 10 years ago, my dad passed away, and I really was kind of shocked. It was like a shock to the system. I didn't know how to navigate it. And honestly, I began to see my life in like two halves, before and the after. And in the after, I became very obsessive with wanting a real message from my dad. I believed that I was entitled to hear from my dad, preferably something in writing. And I searched everywhere for any sort of sign that he wanted to send me. And so the show is kind of a comedy about that. It sort of pokes fun at sort of this idea of, oh, it's a sign and it means that I need to go to this grocery store today and not this one. Yes. Oh, somebody's telling me this. The universe wants this for me. It's kind of jokey about, you know, that sort of concept. But it also talks about why we turn to those sort of things.
Very relatable topic. I myself have had that where I've been in moments so desperately looking for a sign that everything becomes a sign all of a sudden.
Right, exactly, yeah.
So where for you did you decide, okay, so I'm looking for this sign, I now want to turn this into a story?
So when all of this was happening, when my dad passed away, like I said, it was kind of a shock. It was very, very unexpected. And sometimes when really shocking things happen, and also like at very big momentous events, right? Deaths, weddings, you know, big birthdays, you're always kind of surprised the way your family or your friends act in those types of events.
Yes.
You never know how someone's going to act in a big life event. And this was very, very true for me and my family.
Okay.
And so while we were at the hospital and my dad was passing away, we started dabbling in some witchcraft.
As in?
My grandmother, and then she kind of got all of us involved.
Okay.
So me, my mom, my dad's best friend, like all of us were doing witchcraft.
Okay.
And so we're not a witchcraft family. My mom grew up Irish Catholic, like we never had done anything
so
like
there
this
was
before.
no kind of prior experience to this, it was kind of just
never heard of it, never knew about this, and it was all coming from my grandmother.
Okay.
And so while all of this was happening, I looked to my mom and I was like, just so you know, like, I know none of this is funny right now, but I am going to write something about this at some point because this is crazy. And so, and I don't say crazy lightly, I mean more like, you know, it just was a wild thing that we hadn't been exposed to before.
And how did you feel at that moment where these new ideas were being introduced to you at this traumatic time?
I think that we all were open to it, including my mom and including me, and honestly, like especially my mom. And I talk about that in the show a bit about like my mom went along with it, maybe not because she believed in it, but because it was going to help my dad's mother get through this hard time.
Yes.
And so ultimately, it's about like the things that we do for the people we love, right? And so I think that we engaged in this because we love each other.
Yes. And so what did you discover within the witchcraft then, within this spiritual journey?
Here's what I will say. I don't feel like I'm an expert at this point. And I do want to be a little sensitive to it and come at it with some respect because it is like a cultural witchcraft. But I will say that it was a little bit devastating because, you know, in the end my dad did pass away. And I could tell that maybe these rituals and maybe these spells were healing for other people. Like maybe they had worked on other cases. But because of the severity of what my dad had, what his body had been through, it wasn't going to work. And so it's not necessarily that I don't believe. Like I think everybody has their own path to healing and their own cultural rituals that help them get through a hard time. But it was devastating to see that, you know, I had relatives who believed in this, and it wasn't working for us. And to watch that devastation just made it that much harder.
So the purpose of the witchcraft then was to try and delay what
To heal
was
my
happening,
dad.
to heal your dad.
Yeah, so he was unconscious, and the point of the witchcraft was to revive him and bring him into consciousness, essentially. Yeah.
So when that didn't work, did you continue to pursue that path at all, that spiritual path?
I did in other ways.
Okay.
Yes, so I became like pretty open to things like seeing a psychic, and like I still like to study, you know, tarot cards. Like I'm very fascinated with like astrology, and I don't actually talk about this in the show, but that same year that my dad passed, I went to go visit my grandmother in Las Vegas, and she gave me this book of Chinese and traditional like zodiac astrology. So like the Chinese, you know, year of the tiger, year of the dragon, all of that, with like Pisces, Aries, you know, all of those, and they're mixed together. So they're like, if you are a Aries tiger, then this is, you know, who you are and who you need to marry, and da 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 da. So my ama gave me this book. It's like this thick, full of a mix of, you know, traditional astrology that we think of, and then Chinese astrology. And she said, use this book and find a husband. She gave me the book. I took the plane back to Las Vegas. It was like a red eye. The next day, I performed like a comedy show in New York, and that night, I met my husband.
Wow.
So I am open, you know, because I really believe that was something. You know?
I wonder with that openness if that helps us with all these different things, with all these different philosophies, with all these different ideas. I've found for myself personally, when I've been open and embracing to the universe, to my life, more of the things I want have come my way. Have you found that as well?
Yes. And I think like that's, you know, the show is about this journey I was on 10 years ago. I think that I think about death and spirits and the universe in a much different way than I did back then. Back then I felt very entitled and like, I want my messages, and I want, you know, I want like an exact concrete direction to come from beyond, and I need like a clear path. And now I find that I'm receiving like gifts, and oftentimes I attribute them to my dad. I think that my dad sends me gifts unexpectedly, you know? And so I think I'm open to that rather than being so demanding like I was before.
So where did that change? Where did it change from the demanding, I deserve, I need, I want, into being open and receiving?
To be honest with you, like it may sound cliche, but like after meeting my husband, I was like in such a dark, angry place and just like so confused, like why did this happen? And just like in the kind of the dark stages of grief before I met my husband. And honestly, he just opened me up to like having fun again. And once I became able to sort of like enjoy my life, that's when the good came in.
That's wonderful. So I wonder if it's a point of letting go of that need and that want is we're trying to force something. And I wonder if the need and the want is coming from a place of ego. And that maybe, you know, if there is more going on in this universe, who's to say we have any power over need and want? Whereas when we sort of surrender, in a sense, then it opens up.
Because we're all, at the end of the day, very small, and everything is so much bigger than we are. And yeah, I think like accepting that we're all just one small piece of
this giant puzzle picture, and
exactly. And so
I often think of this little social media post that I see quite often of like picture of the universe, all the stars, all the planets, all the galaxies, and there's a little arrow pointing. You are over here worrying about death and taxes, and like you can't even see the dot. Like, you know, so in the big picture of things, for us to be forcing our personal agendas.
And that is, that's a lot what the show is. And I don't know if people totally get that, because I think sometimes people think that I'm still there.
Okay.
You know? But yeah, I think I felt so entitled to some sort of relationship with my dad's ghost, but it had to be on my terms.
Okay.
And like, I had other people in my life saying, oh, I had a sign from your dad, or I got this message from your dad, or look, I pulled up this message on Facebook that your dad sent me.
Yes.
And I became so jealous because I was like, he's my dad. Like, if anybody should be getting a message, it's
It
me.
should be you, yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
But it doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
And so have you found the messages you have received messages since then?
I have. I mean, and I think, like, sometimes I'm like, okay, is that a message, or does it just remind me of my dad?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because everything still reminds me of him.
Does it matter?
No, it doesn't. And I think that's the big difference now. Is like, it ultimately doesn't matter because it's still just a reminder of love.
So also you touch on, with your play, I believe, I haven't seen your show, so you touch on spirits, on ghosts as well.
Yes.
So tell me about your experiences there.
Yes, so the story begins, I talk a lot about like my childhood and my relationship with my dad, and that includes like a very specific scene at my grandmother's funeral. When I was at my grandmother's funeral, I was pretty angry. Yeah, this play is all about ego. I was angry because I had finally gotten a role in the school play, but then my grandmother died, so I couldn't go do the play. So at her funeral, I was so pissed off the whole time. Like, I'm supposed to be on stage right now, but instead I'm here at this funeral. Like, couldn't she have waited? Like, I was so... And so the first ghost that I ever encounter is my grandmother. And I really felt like she was coming to me at night, kind of pissed off that I was so rude at her funeral. She was pissed off about something. I have convinced myself that that's what it was. Because I wasn't very close with her in life.
Right, okay.
But then as soon as she passed, I felt her in my room at night, mad at me.
You felt a presence there?
Yes.
You felt it sounds like you felt an energy?
I felt an energy, but it was also like, it was a whole year of sleep paralysis.
Okay.
I was just like feeling somebody on my chest, and I would instantly feel that it was her in the room with me. My mind would instantly just go to her every time I would experience that. And so I do talk about that in the play as well.
Yes.
But yeah, like, that was 100% like my first haunting, I think.
And so have you experienced other things since then? Have you experienced anything here in Edinburgh? Because I personally have.
You have?
I
like
have
what?
in Edinburgh. Yep. So last year was my first time in Edinburgh, and I experienced 3 ghosts in a week. I was like, what? And this time I've come here, and I'm a bit like, I want to see ghosts.
Yeah.
So I'm looking around every corner. I'm like, ghosts, where are you? And of course, because I'm forcing it, I haven't seen any ghosts.
Yeah.
But last time, these things just happened.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear about them?
Yes.
And so when I was younger, first of all, I'd say that I had spooky experiences when I was younger. When I was 7, 8 years old, there were a number of things that happened. We could like talk for an hour. I lived in a haunted house, basically. Yeah. But since then, nothing at all. And then I come to Edinburgh, and the first thing that happened to me is I'm sitting in a show, and it's quite a late night one, like 1 a.m. And I'm sitting there, it's about a 100-seat auditorium, and during the show, I can feel someone standing next to me. Now, I assume, I'm sitting on the aisle, I assume that person standing next to me is waiting to go on, and they're going to be like, oh, the scene's going to change, and they're going to go onto the stage. And it's quite a while that I feel this presence there, and I'm interested in the stage, and the lights go down, and the presence moves forward in the dark as the lights go. As the lights come up, no one there. And like, you know when you see someone out of your professional vision?
You saw.
I saw.
Yeah.
But as the lights came, that person vanished.
That's really freaky.
I was like, wow, like something's going on here. And then there was a moment like, is this a theatre trick? Have I like seen the most? Because I saw it.
Every theatre has a ghost.
And so I was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, so there's one. And then another one, I was walking home back to my place where I was staying. It was about a 2-mile walk. And I'm walking back late at night, and I see a coffee shop. And the sign in the window said something interesting. So I walked over to read the sign. And as I'm looking through the window to read what it says, I see someone in the reflection behind me standing there watching. And as I turn, there's no one there. And again, I know I saw someone's reflection.
Oh my God.
So that's 2.
Yeah.
And then the third one, as I'm walking around the city, you know there's lots of little alleyways?
Yeah.
I see a big dog. And when I say a big dog, I mean like almost bear size. And I walk straight past the alley, and I'm like, what the? So I walk back, have a look, no dog there.
Oh my God.
So
Edinburgh is very hot.
So 3 ghosts in a week. But yeah, like I say, I've come here this time, been here a week, and I'm like, ghosts, please, like, where are you? Where are you? I want to find you.
Maybe when
and
you
I
least
haven't
expect
seen.
it.
Yeah, I haven't seen them. Well, I think it goes back to that forcing thing.
The what?
The forcing.
Oh, yeah.
The wanting.
Yeah.
Where I'm wanting now so
Yeah.
much to see them again, to be part of that presence. It's like, no, I'm not open. I'm not just being free. I'm almost demanding.
Yeah, you can't force it, I guess. Yeah, because they'll show up when they want to. Yeah, I was at a show. I did a show like in October of last year, and it was a ghost theme show. So I talked about my grandmother and the story I just told you. And there was another woman in the show, and she is a medium. And after the show, she pulled me aside and she was like, I just want you to know that she was here in the corner watching, but she's left now. And so I was like, oh, well, I was like asking her for a description. She's like, I just know she was here.
Have you any idea what ghosts are?
What do you mean?
Well, are ghosts, I wonder if they're energy. They say that energy never dies. We must be energy. And we often say that we feel a presence. And I wonder if that energy is like us resonating forward throughout time and trying to stay connected with other energies that we were connected to within life. Or maybe they're more than that. Maybe they are the spirit continuing on.
Well, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm actually conflicted when it comes to ghosts because obviously, like, my ego side really wants to believe that, you know, the soul of somebody lives on forever, right? And they'll come and go, but they are ultimately at peace, but they're there forever. However, I went to see a psychic, and I do talk about this in the show, and she says to me, she said, your dad's ghost is ready to leave. She said that he was living at my mom's house, and he was ready to leave the house. And then this medium that I met in October, she had said that the ghosts come in because they have unfinished business. And once they leave, they want to leave. They want to go to the next plane. They want to, like, basically, like, graduate. They don't want to be a ghost. And so there is part of me that wonders, like, when the psychic said the ghost is ready to leave, like, did he go on to the next thing? Because there is part of me that's, like, conflicted about, you know, past lives, like new lives. Like, does that mean that the ghost is done and now it's time for that soul to become a new life? The
next thing.
Yeah. So I still don't know where I stand with that, but I do kind of subscribe to the idea that ghosts are here because they have some unfinished business. They don't necessarily want to linger around.
Or there is the idea that maybe we are delusional. Like, is that a possibility?
Of course.
Can we add that in the mix?
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
Because some people would say that we are. Some people, you know, I think it's more of a common belief that these things aren't real. That's the sense that I get.
Yeah.
I don't know. What sense do you get?
Well, I think, like, the comedy side of me is like, of course. Yeah, it's like, it can be like another art form, right? Like, it's something that humans have created to grieve or to scare each other or to entertain each other. Of course. But there's just another side of me that's, like, very woo-woo and a little bit witchy that, like, you know, what's the harm in believing? I'm not hurting anybody.
And actually, I think you're describing some benefit to this belief as well. That you found some comfort in this space, right?
Yes. And my family is kind of similar. Like, a lot of the women in my family have found comfort in this idea that I have gotten signs and I feel a ghost and I feel a spirit and I'm receiving messages, and that comforts me because that tells me that it's not just life and death. Like, there is something after life. And I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's okay to live your life believing that.
So I also wonder with you how you turn these subjects into comedy. Because they're quite serious things.
Yeah.
You know, they're things that keep us awake at night. There are things that trouble a lot of us. So where do you take that twist of darkness and turn it into light?
I talk about a lot of real world things, so I do think that I'm talking about like woo-woo, witchy, universal, the universe type things, but I'm always peppering them with real world example, or real world, we're still living on this plane. So when I say that, I like at one point in the show, I'm like, I was just looking for a sign from my dad, and so in doing that, I started getting into all the things that he was into. So I started listening to James Taylor music and watching Jackie Chan movies and shopping at Costco all the time. And I would be like, I would just look for a sign from the Costco. Like maybe if I just spend enough time in Costco, I'll hear from his ghost, because his ghost loves Costco.
Right.
Right. So
makes sense.
Right. So I think like that's where I pull the humor from. Like, if you live in 2025 or 2014, like where do you look for ghosts when you live in like industrial America?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think like pulling from those type of things, and also just the relationship I have with my dad is very funny. I am a millennial woman, and I grew up in the early 2000s, and my dad was a Tiger parent, and the things that I was into were things like Britney Spears, and my dad wanted me to be like into soccer and become a doctor someday, and so there's humor in that too, of just like that sense of not living up to what your parents might want you to be.
Wonderful. Well, at this point in this conversation, sometimes I like to do a hypothetical idea that we go in a time machine together, and we go back to like a prominent moment in your life, and maybe a moment where you were struggling, where your dad was passing. And I wonder if you could go and meet yourself at that point, what advice would you give to yourself, knowing what you know now?
I would just tell her to like stay open and stay where you are. There was like a point right after my dad passed that I was like, maybe I'm like living completely wrong. Like maybe I was living in New York, and I was like, oh, maybe I should just go back home, and maybe I should just find some guy to marry and like have a bunch of kids and just live close to my family. Like that, I really did start questioning, like maybe I just don't know what life is all about, and I've been doing it all wrong. And then there was a certain point where I decided not to do any of that and to stay put in New York. And so I would just tell myself, like, yeah, just stay in New York, because good things are going to happen. I think there was just so much self-doubt at the time about like making my dad proud. And I have acid reflux.
That's okay. It's very dry in here because we're next to the aircon as well.
Yeah, I like got reflux. Don't get old. I think like I would just tell her like you're going to be fine. Stay on the path and just stay open, because I think there was a big part of me that wanted to close off so badly from people and from socializing.
Yeah, that's some wonderful advice for everyone that we can take, and even in this moment in our lives as well.
Yeah.
And just seek the openness, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing today, Bailey. I really do appreciate it. If anyone has been watching or listening, where can they find out more about you?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is HeyBailey, AY. And my show's at Greenside through August 23rd, but not the 17th, every day at 3:05 p.m.
And what's next for you after the Fringe? Where are you going from here?
Back to New York, and I actually think I'm going to start working on another show about not having children.
Okay.
Yeah.
a very relatable thing, a very relatable experience at this time.
Yes. I found that I never thought that like not having kids would be a controversial thing. I really didn't. I thought like, for me, it's like handedness, like being right or left-handed, like whether or not you want to have children. But I found that as soon as I got married, everybody was like, oh, you definitely are having it. Yeah. Yeah, and I think just being a woman, they're like, okay, well, you definitely have to be a mom. Like, that's what getting married is for. So I'm doing a show all about that. Wonderful. But I would also love to take Give Me a Sign wherever people will have me.
Wonderful. Well, actually, I have got one last question for you that's just come to me. Have you got any hopes and dreams for the future past that and for yourself then?
Yes, I mean, I would love to keep doing what I'm doing, and I would love to meet more people and have more people come to the show. I would love to write a book. I actually am thinking about, I've gotten a lot of advice from people that Give Me a Sign needs to be like a feature script. And so that is definitely something I'm really thinking more seriously about right now. But yeah, I think my hopes and dreams, honestly, are just to keep doing what I'm doing. I have no complaints. I really love life the way it is, and would love to just keep making art like this.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again, Bailey.
Thank you. Thanks
and
so much.
If anyone has been watching or listening to this conversation, we appreciate you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.